Hello guys, my name is Oscar and welcome to a new video here at League Unleashed. Today I'll be breaking down how the number one Evelynn player in Korea plays Evelynn, and we'll discuss his playstyle and how he plays Evelynn differently from the rest of us. As you can see, this player he mastered with a 98% win rate with only one loss, which is ridiculous. There's definitely not a lot of people who's done this before, which is incredibly impressive. I'm not entirely sure who this is though, because my first guess was definitely Malice, which is a very good Evelynn player. He's known as probably the best Evelynn player in Korea or in the US, but he is in the US right now, so that would be impossible. So I'm really not sure who this is, but that is definitely still interesting. So, but yeah, we'll take a look at this one of his games today, and we'll see how it went. So let's jump into the review. All right. So, starting off, obviously he goes for the talisman, and looks like he is playing versus a Lee Sin, which is definitely not one of the easiest matchup you have as Evelynn. He's a jungler like in the video earlier, and he can really set you back. So let's see how this guy decides to play this one out. So looks like he's actually not going to be warding on his top side to recall for the trinket, but instead what he decides to do is that he just decides to start on the blue buff, which does make sense in this game because it's definitely a lot better for him to path into either top or mid to set them up with ganks and to try to set them up with a possibility to get some kills in the early game. I'm just gonna have to turn down the volume a bit here. So, does the usual clear. Let's see if he does put 2 points in queue. No, he doesn't. We see Lee Sin moving up here. He did actually, or it was actually Renekton who placed the ward there, so they do know where he is. So it is very likely that he's going to be put in a bad position where he could perhaps be invaded by the Lee Sin. So moving up to this, you're going to see that he's very hesitant on actually taking the red buff. So what he decides to do is that he skips it, and looks like he's going. Oh, he actually skips the Croaks as well, and he looks to go for a top lane gank because he sees that Lucian is in a very bad position. He sees Lee Sin behind him, looking for the counter gank. They're looking for the dive, so he sees the opportunity. He goes in for the Lucian. Does he get him? One more auto? Alright, he does get him, and he flashes out, and he's completely fine. Very nicely executed by him. Oh, the Rumble does troll a bit there, but and he ends up falling for the Lucian TP coming in. I mean, at least he forced the Lee Sin flash, and like overall, I mean, obviously this isn't too good for him, but at the same time it isn't that bad because he is playing this difficult matchup. So I mean, anything that doesn't give Lee Sin a huge advantage is always not bad for him. And looks like he's just gonna be walking up to his red buff again, and he's gonna probably look for the repeat gank top lane since Lucian does not have flash or TP. So if they put him, or if they get the kill onto him now, it's gonna be very bad for the Lucian, and it's gonna be really hard for him to get back into top lane, especially versus Rumble here. So as you see, they did end up getting the kill, nicely executed by him. He does decide to stay for another wave, probably because he is expecting Lee Sin to either go into his bot side, or because he just wants, to get the EXP before recalling. Does look like he actually decided to stay. I didn't actually see that he did have the finished codex already, so he can actually just stay here and he can clear his jungle still. Looks like they are setting up a gank mid lane. Well, looks like this guy just wants to farm and he just wants to get his level still. Because in theory he is still pretty far behind. He sees the opportunity for Lee Sin moving into his own jungle, but he decides to look for the top lane gank again because he does see Lucian kind of overextended. Yet again, he does not have flash up. Looks like it is control warded, so this opportunity does not work. Lee Sin jumps onto Evelynn here. Looks like he's gonna be fine though, because Lee Sin doesn't have flash either, so this should be an easy escape for him, but I'm not entirely sure as to whether or not Rumble will get out. Ooh, he gets Lucian here for sure. Holy shit, and the Rumble actually turned on the Lee Sin and they actually ended up getting them both. This is so bad for the Lee Sin. Rumble ends up ulting the wave here to get the push in. And wow, that is very nicely executed by NeekoS2 here, for sure. That was a really good play. Definitely. So he does actually end up getting the jungle item already at 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, which is a ridiculous spike. You can see already with the way that this guy is playing. He's playing around the lanes that are vulnerable. He's looking for people who lash or who lose flash early, and he sees the opportunity to get Rumble ahead. And if Rumble is able to get Seekers early versus Lucian, it's very hard for Rumble or for the Lucian to be able to do something. Yet again, a skirmish appears. He runs down, he's able to get another kill. And wow, the Yone does end up dying there. And it's not like Lee Sin is behind, but the thing is that if Evelynn is in the same position as Lee Sin at this stage, it's going to be a very hard game for Lee Sin, because Lee Sin is a champion that is of course very good as well, but the problem is that Evelynn can full clear so much quicker than Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is not a champion that has the opportunity to, you know, keep on clearing these camps. He needs the tempo, and as you can see, he's already created a 2-level lead for himself 7 minutes into the game, and this is simply due to him having a really good pathing and him understanding how to play around the different laners and how to punish them. Yet again, sees the opportunity, goes for Ezreal. Nice combo there by him, proxy electrocutes. They pick up another kill. As you can see, he has 100% KP as Evelynn at 8 minutes. This is not something that you see a lot of people doing in solo queue, because most people are too scared to make anything happen 3-6 with Evelynn, which is kinda bad. But as you can see, this guy knows how to play it, he knows his limits, and up until now he's played this game really well. Does see Renekton kind of overextended, the wave is pushed into the Yone. Seems like they're gonna be looking for a wow, actually a 4-man dive topside. However, Evelynn does see the opportunity here to poke down Renekton a bit. Rumble does end up dying. He couldn't make it there in time because Renekton was zoning him. If he did R there, he probably could have picked up Renekton if he didn't flash out. But it's fine. He can still just, you know, return to farming, return to the opportunity of, you know, getting probably either a Medjais or to look to get early Sorks. Or actually, he opts to go for a Dark Seal and a large rod. Interesting choice. Interesting choice to say for sure. I mean, to be fair, going Medjais here is definitely risky because he didn't have any stacks on a Dark Seal before though, so I totally get that decision. He sees Renekton overextended, he knows that Yone has good setup. Renekton, yet again, it's a melee versus melee champion mid or melee versus melee in mid lane, and therefore like it's very easy for Evelynn to see these opportunities and to gank them, especially when Yone hits 6, because then he can force Renekton's flash if he does have it up. So all in all, this is very nicely executed by him. He's looking for the, or I mean he's getting the Herald here, and it looks to be a very nice setup to look for either a dive top lane, which looks to be what he's doing right now, because he does see Lucian kind of overextended. He should know that Lucian does have flash up by now. Looks like Lucian either recalled or just went off, because he might have spotted him. Yeah, he did spot him. Bit unfortunate there for him. He does pop the Herald though, it has 4 plates left, but still it's completely fine. And the Lucian does not respect him. He ends up having to flash as well actually though. Yeah, because he did not have R. Now overall this trade is definitely worth it for the Evelynn, because losing flash on Lucian is a lot worse. And the thing you can see here is that he's able to get this Herald early. Sure, he does not get the turret, sure, he does not get the kill, but the thing is that he gets 3 plates shared with Rumble. Lucian misses a whole wave, and the thing is that this Lucian is just getting bullied really hard. Sure, Rumble is still down in CS, but you gotta keep in mind that this is a ranged into melee matchup, which is heavily favored for the Lucian, so he's really utilizing his opportunities here, and he's really punishing the Lucian on the few mistakes that he does make. Picks up an easy kill here onto Bard, and this should be a free setup onto Dragon. Yone is not here though, so it is in fact a bit risky, and he does not have smite up, but he seems to just go for it, because that's the thing about Evelynn as well. As long as you have the empowered E, it isn't always required to have smite up, for sure not. So it looks like they want to either look for a dive here, because they do actually have ults out. Yep, They retreat just fine. Definitely not the worst. They got Lee Sin R and they got Ezreal R as well. He does lose a lot of pressure with this, so it was a bit unfortunate that the Lee Sin was expecting this. But it did make sense because he was just on the dragon. Looks like Renekton is pathing down. He decides to return here for a potential catch maybe onto Bard. He does have the damage to at least kill the Ezreal or the Bard if he does get the charm. He gets exhausted though. Rumble is here with the follow-up. Pretty nice equalizer. Ooh. Bard ends up Soniasing. Ooh. Fiddle, he survives. Rumble flashes in, he gets the kill. Ends up trading for Lee Sin though. Renekton moves down. They have to get out of here for sure. And this is the good thing about Evelynn W. You can simply just do that and the Renekton can't do anything. He's looking for the Kai'Sa, but the Evelynn is peeling really well for the Kai'Sa here. Definitely so. And as you can see, the gold difference between Lee Sin and Evelynn is just major. Evelynn has 1300 gold at 12 minutes. This, in a realistic game, this should not really happen. It should be pretty close, or Evelynn should have a few hundred gold up on him, simply due to the camps. Because the thing is that this guy, he has not been AFK farming, he's not constantly sitting in his jungle taking his camps. This guy is making stuff happen. He has the tempo play almost of an Elise, but at the same time he utilizes Evelynn's tools in order to full clear his jungle pretty well. Because as you see here, he's still 80 CS at 30 minutes, which is definitely not bad. He does actually have a level onto Lee Sin still. Did pick up a nice kill there. Good setup by Fiddle. Definitely so. He does have R up again, but looks like he has a lot of gold. He has 1800. So he definitely wants to get a recall in here. He does actually have 10 Dark Seal stacks as well, so he definitely wants to pick up a Medjais here for, or most likely, what do I know? Maybe he goes for something else, let's see. Well, to no surprise, he does end up getting the Medjais, and he ends up picking up another Phoenix Codex, which is probably built into a Banshee, which is definitely understandable versus this team. They have the Renekton, they have the Bard, and they have the Lee Sin R. He wants to avoid all of these things. He doesn't want, you know, to get punished as he walks into a brush. He wants to have the edge onto them. And it's a very good item to build onto Evelynn. You can kind of, well, I wouldn't really compare it to AGA, but it does kind of serve a bit of the same purpose just for AP champions in one regard, because you do still have the MR. Oh wow, Ezreal does flash out, he ults back, and he does pick that up. You can see this guy is very greedy. He wants these Magi stacks. Renekton engages onto Kai'Sa. He gets the W. Ooh, that's a 1000 gold shutdown onto the Renekton there. He did play that a bit too fast. If he maybe just charmed him and then waited for Kai'Sa to, you know, deal some damage, he probably could have reinitiated. But that does hurt a bit. He does lose 1000 gold, or he does give 1000 gold onto Renekton, and he does lose 8 stacks. So it did definitely hurt for him. But still, he's in a completely fine position. He definitely is, but he can't keep it up like this. He needs to get his stacks up, he needs to get his kills, and he can definitely do so. But right now, he's probably just looking to get some farm right here, right before the objective spawn, because he probably wants to look for this Herald before the dragon. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking. He could, like, this is something they do a lot in pro play, this is something they do a lot in Korea. They try to play for the Herald to set up the dragon. But seems like he actually does want to go for a catch instead. He wants to, you know, get the opportunity to maybe kill a Bard or something before the dragon does actually spawn. Oh, sees the opportunity on Ezreal, and what do you know? That's a free dragon. And that could turn into a second Herald as well if they want to afterwards. But the thing is that this is completely free for them now. Rumble probably does not even have to rotate. As long as his team does not grief bot side right now, or mid, then it's completely fine. Lucian, for some reason, does not understand how weak side works, and oh, my bad. Lee Sin was actually waiting there in the brush. To my surprise. This was a really good setup by the Lucian actually. I even felt for it. And as you can see, like, the players on the server are very good on playing weak sides. Up until now, until the fiddle also over the wall. It all happens to us. We all get caught by that. However, it does seem like he just wants to go for the dragon right here. Does move on to the herald, or maybe not. Looks like he probably has just enough for the Rabadon, so he just wants to pick that up. After he clears this right here, he'll have enough. And he just wants to get that, so he does have, you know, the QE one-shot potential onto Ezreal, onto Bard, and onto Lucian or Lee Sin if they don't have Hexdrinker up for sure. Or if they're 60% HP, it's still gonna work. He is for sure extremely strong at this point. As you can see, he has 524 AP. He just wants to get these Magi stack now and like really abuse his champion. He does get spotted by a control ward there, and he does actually miss the Q. This is very annoying for Evelynn. He decides to not clear out the pink ward, which is understandable. He does not want to get caught out here, because as you can see, he does have a very big shutdown, and the thing is that most of the gold on his team is almost funneled into him, so he doesn't want to get caught out here in a silly position. But he is playing really far up, and he wants to take this CS. He wants to he wants to deny them every single thing he can on the map, and he's able to do that. Like, as you can see, this guy sees the opportunity. They've taken all the outer turrets. He moves into the enemy jungle and he starts looking for these catches, but at the same time he tries to deny them as much as possible. And as you can see right here, Lee Sin is in a very bad position. He did kind of outplay him though. He does flash out. He is probably dead here. Oh my, the Yone R actually did save him there for a second until he got caught out again by the Lee Sin. But he should get a lot of assists here. And the thing is that they burn pretty much everything onto the Evelynn. So as you can see, like, his team is able to clean this up really easily. And he didn't actually lose that many Magi stacks because he kind of damaged everyone in that fight. They end up getting the Baron. And what do you know, that's an FF. That's a 20-minute game. So what do I have to say? I mean, this player is actually insane. You know, as we saw, hitting this monster with a 98% win rate, I mean, this is just ridiculous. And as you can see, he actually had one of his first losses at the very end here. But still, this is very much insane, and you can tell that this guy definitely deserves it with his playstyle. The way he plays so aggressively with his Magi's is really interesting because not a lot of people play like this, and this was definitely a good game. But yeah, that's definitely that's gonna be enough for this one. I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you did like it, share it with your friends, and click the notification bell so you get notifications on our videos. Other than that, I just wish you a nice day and goodbye.